The National Super Alliance wishes to make the following pronouncements with regard to the much-anticipated swearing-in of its leaders, Right Honorable Raila Odinga and His Excellency Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, as the duly elected President and Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, respectively. First, we wish to assure our supporters and all interested parties that the swearing-in is on as announced earlier, and all arrangements are in place to make it the most significant event our citizens have ever organized for themselves to secure their interests, their rights, and dignity as people. We wish to reiterate that the swearing-in is a reclamation of the NASA presidential election victory of August the 8th, 2017, which, by the act of annulling Uhuru Kenyatta's victory, the Supreme Court of Kenya validated. If Uhuru's election was null and void, it stands to reason that that election was won by someone else, and that person is Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka as his running mate. Jubilee went on to carry a sham election instead of the election that was ordered by the Supreme Court on the 26th, and we consider this election a coup against the people of Kenya. And as we have pronounced ourselves, we consider it that Jubilee is now exercising an illegitimate presidency. The swearing-in will reclaim NASA's victory and return power to the people who refused to participate in that election, and therefore they are holding on to their sovereign right to choose the President of the Republic. We are advising our people, Kenyans, and our supporters in particular, to reject and ignore the plain lies and half-truths being peddled by sections of the media and the political class that the swearing-in of Right Honorable Raila Odinga and His Excellency Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is a bargaining chip for dialogue. As we have stated severally, our nation is now deeply divided between two irreconcilable political values, namely authoritarian rule and democracy. There are, in fact, people who have said severally, leaders of the other side, that a benevolent dictatorship is preferable to democracy. So we are divided between those people who are claiming that they can, in fact, govern the country and govern the people as benevolent dictators. And those of us who subscribe and are committed to democracy and are not prepared to live under a dictatorship of any kind. So, Jubilee is now unable to form government. Rather than address this failure, which is caused by internal greed, power grabbing, and rent-seeking, Jubilee is spreading misinformation that somehow it is failing to form government because NASA wants a share of government, the thing that is called nusumkate in our language. We state very categorically that we are not interested in power sharing with Jubilee at this point in time. We have made it clear that we do not recognize this regime and we are not prepared to help it out of its own mess by lending it legitimacy so that it can limp along to the election which would take place in 2022 if they allow it. So we are not going to escort Jubilee into a sham electoral dictatorship as they are trying to do. The vast majority of this, so we are moving on. We are proceeding with the people who believe that electoral justice is key for a stable, fair, prosperous nation. And we are determined to ensure that every vote in Kenya is counted when we have an election, and that every vote counts. If and when Jubilee leadership sees the need for the country to interrogate its systems and institutions through a national conversation, it is welcome to join our People's Assembly process. NASA is not interested in a boardroom deal. We've had boardroom deals before. They have not delivered for the people. We would not be here if the boardroom deal we had in 2007 and 2008 had delivered for the people. So, having learned from that, we are leading an open, inclusive, transformational political dialogue. At the end of the process that we are leading, we expect and we intend to institute a very significant political transformation of the society. So in pursuit of this agenda, tomorrow, which is Friday the 19th, we proceed to Machakos for the Ukambani People's Consultative Forum. In the People's Assembly, in these forums that we are holding, we are deliberating on how to remake this nation so that it works for all of us. For it to do so, we must agree on how to share power and exercise it responsibly, how to share opportunities equitably, and above all, how to coexist peacefully as distinct communities brought together by the cruel fate of colonialism. This is the conversation we believe we must have to become the nation that has eluded us for half a century. Everyone who thinks that this conversation is important is welcome. So, the people, as we've said, we will deliberate and we will agree on how to share power, how to share opportunities and resources, and how to coexist as a diverse peoples, a multicultural, democratic nation. If they want to have another dialogue or parallel dialogue, we have made it clear what our agenda for that dialogue is. It is electoral justice. That's the fundamental issue. So, that's it.